We do have two very interesting human specimens, a man and a woman. One might call Marnie a sex mystery, that is, if one used such words. But it is more than that. Perhaps the best way to tell you about the picture is to show you a few scenes.
Interesting facts about famous people.
What were Alfred Hitchcock's best films? The Master of Suspense, Sir Alfred Hitchcock, one of the fathers of modern cinema, earned 46 Academy Award nominations. His work inspired filmmakers like David Lynch, Brian DePalma, David Fincher, and M. Night Shyamalan. Hitchcock worked for years before becoming a household name. His 10th film, Blackmail, 1929, was the first British talkie following the silent era. From this point, he worked continuously. He made 53 movies over 50 years. His last film was Family Plot, 1976. The master died in 1980, but is remembered and lives on today for his Hitchcockian style. Of the 53 legendary films Hitchcock made, today we will look at some of his best. I'm not telling you what his best was, as that's way too subjective. I'm not a judge, just an admirer. I'm sure you will let me know your favourite, as it's such a personal thing. If you enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button to get my new videos. To check out my many other videos, head to my channel. The link is in the description. I'll let you know my personal favourite at the end of the video. Let's get into it. Rear Window, 1954, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. A mystery thriller written by John Michael Hayes, based on Cornell Woolrich's 1942 short story, It Had to Be Murder. Originally released by Paramount Pictures, stars James Stewart, Grace Kelly, Wendell Corey, Thelma Ritter, and Raymond Burr. It was screened at the 1954 Venice Film Festival. A mystery thriller that follows a professional photographer who, while recovering from a broken leg and confined to a wheelchair in his Greenwich Village apartment, witnesses what looks like a murder. A voyeuristic thriller. Rear Window solidified Hitchcock as the master of suspense and stands as a perfect example of his creative style. Psycho, 1960, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. A horror film. The screenplay, written by Joseph Stefano, based on the 1959 novel of the same name by Robert Bloch, stars Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, Vera Miles, John Gavin, and Martin Balsam. The plot centres on an encounter between on-the-run embezzler Marion Crane, Lee, and Shy Motel proprietor Norman Bates, Perkins, and its aftermath, in which a private investigator, Balsam, Marion's lover, Sam Loomis, Gavin, and her sister, Lila, Miles, investigate her disappearance. This horror sparks an entire entertainment franchise, including 3 sequels, and the popular series Bates Motel. Psycho was a complete game changer for the movie industry, pushing the envelope with bold violence and sexuality. The film follows a woman on the run who finds herself at a remote hotel run by an odd young man under the control of his mysterious mother.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Vertigo, 1958, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. A psychological thriller based on the 1954 novel From Among the Dead, written by Alec Copel and Samuel A. Taylor. The film stars James Stewart as former police detective John Scotty Ferguson, who has retired because an accident in the line of duty has caused him to develop acrophobia, a fear of heights, accompanied by vertigo, a false sense of rotational movement. Scotty is hired by an acquaintance, Gavin Elster, as a private investigator to follow Gavin's wife, Madeline, Kim Novak, who is behaving strangely. The film has continued to be studied and lauded for its pioneering of new cinematography styles, namely the dolly zoom, now nicknamed the Vertigo shot. Vertigo was the first film to ever employ the shot, which creates a spatial warp and sense of unease in the audience. All in all, Vertigo is a permanent fixture in the greatest films of all time discussion. Notorious, 1946, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a spy noir film starring Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman and Claude Rains as three people whose lives become intimately entangled during an espionage operation. The film follows US government agent T.R. Devlin Grant enlists the help of Alicia Bergman, the daughter of a German war criminal, to infiltrate a circle of executives of IG Farben, hiding out in Rio de Janeiro after World War II. The situation becomes complicated when the two fall in love as Huberman is instructed to seduce Alex Sebastian Rains, a Farben executive who had previously been infatuated with her. This 1946 spy film stars three of the most talented actors to ever grace the screen. The film marks a shift in Hitchcock's career, a moment in which the industry began to take him seriously as an artist, working at the top of his game. The film is considered Hitchcock's first try at a romance-driven story, and like every film in this video, is remembered for its creative cinematography. North by Northwest, 1959, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a spy thriller starring Cary Grant, Eva Marie Saint and James Mason. The screenplay was by Ernest Lehman, who wanted to write the Hitchcock picture to end all Hitchcock pictures, a tale of mistaken identity with an innocent man pursued across the US by agents of a mysterious organization trying to prevent him from stopping their plan to smuggle microfilm containing government secrets out of the country. One of several Hitchcock films that feature a music score by Bernard Herrmann and an opening title sequence by graphic designer Sol Bass, and was the first to feature extended use of kinetic typography in its opening credits. Another famous opportunity for Cary Grant, like so many in this video, North by Northwest is considered one of the greatest films of all time.
Enjoy Carrie's romantic performance, but her companion, James Mason, has other ideas. Ask him, Carrie.
Apparently, the only performance that'll satisfy you is when I play dead.
In your very next role, you'll be quite convincing, I assure you.
It's one surprise after another. Adventurous Carrie, romanced by the kind of blonde that gets into a man's blood, even if she has to shoot her way in.
Rebecca, 1940, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a romantic psychological thriller, Hitchcock's first American project and his first film with producer David O. Selznick. The screenplay by Robert E. Sherwood and Joan Harrison, and adaptation by Philip MacDonald and Michael Hogan, were based on the 1938 novel of the same name by Daphne du Maurier. Stars Laurence Olivier as the brooding, aristocratic widower Maxime de Winter, and Joan Fontaine as the young, never-named woman who becomes his second wife, with Judith Anderson, George Sanders, and Gladys Cooper in supporting roles. The film is a Gothic tale shot in black and white. Maxime de Winter's first wife, Rebecca, who died before the events of the film, is never seen. Her reputation and recollections of her, however, are a constant presence in the lives of Maxime, his new wife, and the housekeeper, Mrs. Danvers. Shot entirely in black and white, the film follows the young woman living in the shadow of her predecessor, Rebecca, haunted by her memory and reputation. A major player at the 13th Academy Awards, Rebecca earned 11 nominations in its year and remains the only Hitchcock film to ever win Best Picture. Dial M for Murder, 1954, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a crime thriller starring Ray Milland, Grace Kelly, Robert Cummings, Anthony Dawson, and John Williams. Both the screenplay and the successful stage play on which it is based were written by English playwright Frederick Knott. Originally intended to be shown in 3D, the film played in most theatres in 2D due to the loss of interest in the 3D process by the time of its release. The film earned an estimated $2.7 million in the North American box office. This infamous crime thriller follows a former tennis star who plots to murder his cheating wife, a socialite embroiled in an affair with a crime fiction writer.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Shadow of a Doubt, 1943, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a psychological thriller film noir, starring Teresa Wright and Joseph Cotton, written by Thornton Wilder, Sally Benson, and Alma Reville. Nominated for an Academy Award for Best Story for Gordon MacDonald. Charlotte, Charlie, Newton, and her parents live in very quiet Santa Rosa, California. An unexpected visit by Charles Oakley, her charming and sophisticated Uncle Charlie, brings much excitement to her family and the small town. That excitement turns to fear as young Charlie slowly realizes her uncle is in fact a wanted serial murderer, known as the Merry Widow Killer. The fear escalates when Oakley realizes she knows his secret. Hitchcock's favorite child among critics. Shadow of Doubt is considered Hitchcock's most intimate film, calling it the auteur's first indisputable masterpiece.
This man we want may be your uncle.
I don't believe you.
Because if he's the guy, I'm going to catch up with him, Charlie. Remember that. And you're going to keep your mouth shut. How much do you know about your uncle?
Where's Charlie?
She'll be down for dinner. She doesn't look quite herself.
Here's my girl.
We don't need to play any games with it tonight.
You know what he's done, don't you?
Leaving Uncle Charlie. I hope he stays here forever.
Don't start imagining things. I seem pretty sure he's the man we want. Why not going, you see? Do you know the world is a foul sty? Faded, fat, greedy women.
They're alive. They're human beings.
Marnie, 1964, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a psychological thriller from a screenplay by J. Preston Allen, based on the 1961 novel of the same name by Winston Graham, stars Tippi Hedren and Sean Connery. Marnie became a milestone for several reasons. It was the last time a Hitchcock blonde would have a central role in one of his films. It also marked the end of Hitchcock's collaboration with cinematographer Robert Burks, who died in 1968, editor George Tomasini, who died soon after Marnie's release, and composer Bernard Herrmann, who was fired during Hitchcock's next film, Torn Curtain, 1966, when Hitchcock and Universal Studio executives wanted a pop and jazz-influenced score for the film. Marnie bookends a chapter of Hitchcock's Blondes, marked by mystery, sex appeal, and movie star good looks. Marnie follows a woman who charms her way into a job at a tax consulting company, steals $10,000, changes her identity, and flees to Virginia.
South American. I trained her
Oh? What did you train her to do?
to trust me.
Is that all?
Well, that's a great deal for a Jaguarandi.
The Birds, 1963, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a horror thriller loosely based on the 1952 short story of the same name. Focuses on a series of sudden and unexplained violent bird attacks on the people of Bodega Bay, California, over the course of a few days. Stars Robert Taylor and Tippi Hedren in her screen debut, alongside Jessica Tandy, Suzanne Pleshette, and Veronica Cartwright. The screenplay is by Evan Hunter, who was told by Hitchcock to develop new chapters and a more elaborate plot. Birds follows a San Francisco socialite who, in pursuit of love, travels to a small Northern California town to surprise her budding love interest. Love is interrupted by bizarre waves of bloodthirsty birds attacking the townspeople. In the making of The Birds, Hitchcock was inspired by a real-life phenomenon that took place in Capitola, California in 1961, during which residents woke up to find rabid birds dive-bombing houses and crashing into cars. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the subscription button so you will see all my new videos as they come up. Take a look at my channel to see my many other videos. The link is in the description. Leave me a comment. Check out my Facebook page as well. I appreciate your likes and subscribers. I am Wrangler. Adios. See you again soon.
Interesting facts about famous people.